Sunshine Wild Ones, it's Bernadette. I'm here with your Pick a Card Tarot reading for Monday, January 11th, 2021. Just want to say a big shout out to my sister. Happy birthday. I love you so much. And I am really hoping that we have the most magical day ever because I get the sacred honor of spending part of her birthday with her. And it also, it just cracks me up which card came out for today's reading. The dinosaur, the Triceratops, because she's old, y'all. Really old. She's a dinosaur. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into Triceratops because their meaning in their symbolism as a spirit totem and power animal is more detailed than you might think, but that's going to bring up the biggest point of the reading today for you guys, which is this. When I was sitting in meditation this morning, pulled a card, and then was like, okay, well, what really of the messages of Triceratops is most important for the wild ones today? Because it's, it's the root chakra day, and it's, it's ruled by the moon. That's our planetary thing. It's all about the feels. I kept seeing the frill, it's called a frill, that big fanny thing that they have, around their neck. And that was supposedly used for protection against the T-Rex, because apparently T-Rex love to munch on poor little Triceratops. And I say poor little Triceratops, but they got up to 30 feet long, y'all. Okay, so, but which is also interesting because they started out ginormous and then over time became the size of like cattle. Strange. And I don't know the whole history of that. But when I kept seeing that frill, I also kept seeing how people, women in the Eastern cultures, and then women here in the U.S. and even over in, well, really, I mean, every place that I can think of probably, that used to do that thing when there was no such thing as air conditioning, and they would do that thing with the fan, and they, some of them would use it to move air, and some of them would use it to be all, sexy and stuff. I don't know many people that equate dinosaurs of any kind with being sexy, but there's something about that mystique, that allure, that kind of frill thing that's like that's going to have something to do with you today. And that could be something with romance. It certainly could, because the moon is the ruler of today, right? I don't want to make the obvious joke about the root chakra. I'll just let it sit right there for a minute. Okay, so moving on. But I really think it'll have something to do with that, even if you've got to be like using your wiles, whether it's your feminine wiles or your masculine wiles or your whatever wiles, even if you're using that to get, I'm not saying in a snarky, not ethical, not moral, whatever that means to you way, but you just may have to do that, kind of thing. Or it just may be plain old hot where you are and you need to get some air moving. So all of that being said, the other thing that really came to me is, even though Triceratops is called Triceratops, they actually only have two horns. The little thing that comes out of their snout is actually made of keratin, which is what your nails are made out of. So there's a real caution today, I think, for you to see, not just see people and situations for what's really there, but be sure that you understand not the game that, okay, thank you, Spirit. Okay, Lordy B, I don't know why y'all didn't give me this earlier. It's not really so much about the truth so much as it's about your due diligence of finding out the facts. There's some big deal going on today with Triceratops and facts. And that thing on their nose is, the little bump on their nose, which is basically a big giant fingernail, that calls to that, especially because it's on the nose. And anytime that we're directed to the nose, it's about sniffing out something, right? We know that it's about sniffing out something. So today, be really sure for yourself, for your own safety. No, it's not even about, this is exciting for you guys. It's not even about safety. This is about gain. This is about what you're actually going to gain by doing that sniffing out of the facts. Okay, so when you also take a look at how this was a big message. Y'all, because I'm such a geek. It took me a dang hour and a half to get prepared for this reading this morning, because even though, that's why I'm putting out the new book, by the way. There are, other than my books that are coming out, there are no other books that give you as much information about a particular animal and all the things that they can possibly mean in all the different cultures across the world, because it's expensive. I mean, you can only have so much room in a book to print so much print. That's why I love my website, because I can write anything I want on there all day long. But, you know, you can only, and people are only going to buy a book that's a, you know, a certain size and cost and all that kind of thing. But I'm printing the book I want to print, and it's got all kinds of information in there. But I kept hearing from the spirit animals this morning, the obvious is not really what the message is. There are a couple of things that people think they know, but give them the real, you know, give them the facts. But it's about something that they don't necessarily know yet. So what came into my head, what was put into my head was, I have never been able to understand, even when I was a kid, and all the kids around me were fascinated by dinosaurs. And I bet if you have kids or you've been around kids, you know that at some point, so many of them become completely obsessed with dinosaurs. Then they grow out of it in a couple of years, but so I Googled why do people love dinosaurs so much, and a bunch of different kinds of things like that. And here's what psychologists have come to understand. They're not exactly sure why, but what they do think they know is that being preoccupied, I won't call it obsessed, but being preoccupied with an idea is so valuable, especially to children that age, because they can't, well, you can now with the Google 3D animals, right? You can see whales jump out of the water, and big T-Rexes will show up in your living room, and it's creepily real, y'all. Creepily real. But even still, you know, kids are going to have an awareness that that's not a real dinosaur. That's not a real whale. So the getting, you know, it's a whole social thing. It's a whole brain function thing, where you get started with the idea of something, that's it, conceptual ideas. Thank you. And the conceptual idea helps form intelligence. The more you think about it, the more creative you are, the more you study it, the more facts that you get. And there's a social cachet that goes along with it. You've got a whole group of people that are also preoccupied with dinosaurs, and it's like trading cards, right? It's like, well, I've got this fact, or I know this, or I know that, or I've got this lunchbox, or I've got that. And some of that, yes, is materialism, I get it. But really, there's a whole social construct that goes along with this. And so here's what I'm going to tell you. Based on what I read this morning, because I was told to ask the question, which is, when you guys are talking, you know, to yourself, or you're learning for yourself about spirit, totem, and power animals, I would really encourage you to research the animal on your own. Just because somebody somewhere once said, because I guarantee you no caveman passed down some kind of oral or hieroglyphic tradition that read, you know, in caveman times, we had a spiritual belief that, you know, Triceratops was a spirit, totem, and power animal and represented this. I say I can guarantee it. I can't guarantee anything like that, but my feeling is that's probably the case. So as the world evolves, as human consciousness evolves, as the understanding of these animals' synchronicities, I learned a great new phrase the other day, which I'd heard, but I'd heard it more in a healing practice of be in relationship with, right? So I have stopped using the word use, like, you know, hey, you can use spirit, totem, and power animal, energy, and medicine for this, because I know what I mean. I know that I mean that I know you wild ones, you're going to give back to the animal kingdom. You already do. So I shouldn't, you know, I'm not really going to say that, but there's a larger consciousness out there. And so if I substitute the word be in relationship with, that gives an automatic implication that you're going to be in relationship with the dinosaur, the spirit animal, the spirit guide, the angel, the whatever, and you're going to give back as it gives you, which I love. I just love. And I just changed the entire forward to the book because of that, crazily enough. And I've got, and my editor going through right now, she was like, Bernadette, you want me to go through all these pages? Yes, I do. I want that word out. I want this new terminology put in, because it's better for everybody. It's a stronger choice. It's a more deeply respectful way of working with the animal kingdom, and that includes the two-legged peoples, that includes the wild ones, as well as every other critter that's in the book. Where all of this is going for you on this Monday is, when I read that this morning, I had such a deep truth set inside of me that whole thing about how Triceratops, but I'm going to equate it to all dinosaurs because the fascination is with dinosaurs et al. Okay. I'm forever going to equate them with, if somebody comes into me for a reading and either the card, from the arc comes out, or I see a dinosaur of some kind in my mind, or it's a lizard or a Komodo dragon or something that harkens back to that time, a cassowary, okay? I'm going to ask Spirit what Spirit is telling me is there's some kind of brain thing going on with them, some kind of something they want to know about, some kind of thing maybe they're already learning about, but they're not learning enough about, or, any one of those kinds of things. It may just need to be a reminder of how really creative and smart they are. And I say that like that's no big deal, but it's a huge deal. I mean, people, if you're a math and science person, you're either good or you're not, because that's a standardized test. You either understand this and you can do those formulas and the formula's right, or you can't, unless you get to a certain place and you're an experimental and research or whatever. But when you're a creative, it can be very difficult to believe in yourself and your abilities. It can. So that is, dinosaurs at whole, as a spirit totem power animal, but Triceratops for sure, has definitely taken on a whole new meaning for me. So that's a dang lot, y'all. I know it is. And so I hope, especially for a Monday, right? So I hope that's helpful. If you wonder why I'm looking to the side, I'm trying to dig out for my box. I gotta get my marketing in, right? So I hope you pick up your copy of the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck. I hope you subscribe to my YouTube channel and get all of your great spirit totem and power animal and shamanism and everything, zodiac signs, everything we talk about here. And the most important thing when you're considering on this moony Monday is how to do what? How to stay wild.